will be once again repeating the same band, so Elise, Tom, Kench, Gnar for Vitality, and on the side of Shalke, Nidalee, Gragas, Malzahar. Potential Trundle first, potential Karma first, or...
So if they, the instant thought that I've just come to is, yes, if Vitality go for the Twisted Fate, a KaSing is going to be the pickup for Schalke, because it was banned in Game 1, and that was banned by Schalke to deny it from Nukeduck. He could look to prioritize that himself.
Is there a jungle first pick that you would put in here, considering all the priority on jungle champions removed from the pool?
I think that it's unlikely coming out from Vitality. I think that the Trundle is the safest thing to go for. You've taken away the Gnar. You now don't really have any counter matchups. The best thing for Schalke to go for is the Shen, because it is safe. You're not necessarily going to lose lane, but you're not going to win it either. You're going to allow that Trundle to get to his late game ability. But what we saw in Game 1 was that Cabo kept overextending. Yeah. Cabo kept throwing away any kind of lead that he built up during the laning phase, and he was just regularly punished for it.
Yeah, it's a problem that has plagued the players and the teams. I mean, we're in week 9, day 2. This is the last game of the regularly scheduled games for Vitality and Schalke. And of course, if Schalke can pick it up, they've got themselves a Lucian and a Karma to help do so, and will at least force that tiebreaker at the end of the day. And that would be a pretty hype tiebreaker, a best of one to determine who comes back in spring and who goes to promo tournaments.
The viewers have been complaining that we haven't been giving them enough best of 3s. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. If Schalke win this game, you will get your ever so desired best of 3, and then you can find out for yourself whether or not you are satisfied.
Of all the flavors to pick, why do you pick salty? Stole that one from Harrow, not gonna lie. Not gonna get the Shen in Steve's hands, because Vitality have revealed their hand. So solo lane is determined, support determined as well. Shen, Vladimir locked in.
Interesting. So we've got the Shen coming out from Vitality, so likely that Trundle will be moved into the support role from KaSing. I believe we mentioned early on that this isn't something that he's played very much of. He does in fact only have 1 game on it, and that was a win. So it's not like he can't play the champion. And into a Karma, it's going to be another rough matchup. Vitality are asking for already a week 2 versus 2, and if they go back towards the Ashe, which is somewhat what I expect because Vitality do want some kind of engage for their composition, it's going to result in once again a week 2v2, and we may very well see the lane swap coming out from Vitality.
All right, so potential lane swap. Very quick lock-ins. Let's round out these comps. It is a Graves jungle for Gilius. We talked about all of the champions that have been banned, so really going down the tiers. Ryze has been locked in for Fox. It did not work for him yesterday. Vitality have rounded their team comp out. The pick elements are still there in the Ashe and the Hecarim. Got some global pressure, got some team fight pressure, got some front line, a little bit of everything for Schalke.
I mean, Vitality going for a very similar composition to what they went for in Game 1. Swapping out the Alistar for the Trundle, swapping out the Twisted Fate for the Vladimir. The composition still does a very similar thing, but they don't have the same sort of global pressure. However, you could argue that now they've just traded up one global for another with Twisted Fate for the Shen. And overall, it's still going to look to try and do the same thing, where they have really good team fighting, especially with the Vladimir come the mid to late game. Their laning phase is a little bit better because Vladimir into Ryze should actually be pretty good for the Vlad. But the fact that this Fiora has come out for Schalke could look to hurt Vitality, because this is a very similar situation to the Trundle-Shen matchup, where Shen can't really do much against the Fiora, so she gets a free farm lane. She's able to get to that 2-3 item spike, where she becomes this split-pushing menace that Vitality really won't have much of an answer for.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. Fiora's done very well over the last 2 weeks since getting buffs on 614.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't see a huge amount of it yesterday, but last week we did. And this game has the potential to become very explosive very quickly. There's a lot of damage, a lot of CC across all of the lanes. And let's revisit this lane swap in this early game discussion, because it kind of came true literally to the letter in Game 1 in terms of where the advantages were. But it didn't help Gilius and Schalke despite the early leads they got and the tower pressure.
Well, that was largely because both teams were pretty determined to give the other team some kind of edge or lead or any kind of advantage. You heard the analyst desk mention that it was back and forth is the common phrasing for it. But it was, yeah, there was a messy game. Vitality now They should have warmed up. Obviously, we are playing on a Sunday. It's early on in the day, QuickShot. It's 1:30. These guys probably have only just woken up. So they needed that warm-up, get it out of their systems, and now everybody should be more awake, more alive, and ready to play some proper League of Legends.
Yes, they absolutely need to be. Let's keep a close eye on how many people get overextended. Going to be way more, or it's going to be as unforgiving as these two team compositions are locked in. Fiora, as I mentioned, the win-loss. 6 wins, 3 losses on 6-14, so pretty good record overall.
But bear in mind, initially, she was 5-0. Yeah. So it looks like that after her initial reappearance, teams weren't entirely sure how to deal with her, and then she comes back in, and everyone's like, oh, okay, I remember Fiora now, I know how to deal with it.
Also remember when a champion goes 5-0, it activates the trap card, where teams in the bottom 5 of the table go, we can win with her. And that obviously impacts the win-loss percentage. But Steve in particular, you know, he's also played 1 game of Fiora. He's one of those losses. Just saying. He's going to get his another shot, another opportunity now. And once again, guys, we're just working through some early game pauses just to try and mitigate some of the technical issues. So we will be in game in a moment. I want to talk about this Ryze. Fox lost with it yesterday.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who did I talk to who was talking about the Ryze and saying that, you know, it's a lot to learn. There's new things. It was actually Shalke at the end of the game yesterday, and they were saying how the team's getting used to it. Fox will be trying it. What's your take of that Ryze?
So Ryze, I think, is very interesting. The changes to his ult mean that people will typically go for not even bothering to level his ult up until the level 10 mark, and then they'll just instantly take a point in its second. But we can talk more about it once we get into game. We can see how he does up against the Vladimir.
All right, we'll keep a close eye on that matchup. It is Vitality 1 win away from 2017 Spring, and Schalke looking to force the first tiebreaker of the summer split. We're loading up. Jump on Twitter. Let us know if you think Steve and the boys have what it takes to give us extra content, because you know we love our ties here in Europe.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the fan vote did go in favor of Vitality in Game 1, and clearly that was enough to enable them to get the victory. So for all you Schalke supporters out there, for all you Steve fans, if you want them to bring out the victory, you need to get on Twitter right now.
Yes, but don't undervalue Vitality. They've got to vote too.
They do.
And production, if you're hearing this, we're going to need another Twitter prediction, because Vedius, in his infinite wisdom, has assured us that the Twitter vote will determine the final result.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with the players anymore, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
We're at the end of the split. Skill means nothing. It is all about public perception.
I'm hearing we need to give it some time, right? We've only just made the call out.
Of course, yes, it will take time.
Production has assured me we will get that graphic.
Great.
And then we can make fun of Vedius for being correct or incorrect at the end of the day.
But it also gives us an opportunity to talk about the lane swap, QuickShot. Because Vitality have said, all right, enough of this 2v2. We know what happened Game 1. Karma is a bit of a menace, especially when paired up with the Lucian. So we're just going to say no, because it's even worse with the Trundle, because your all-in potential isn't even as scary as it would be from the Alistar. So they've just said, we're not even going to try it. We're just going to avoid it. Just want to quickly touch on the mastery skill point that we have for Fox. He has decided to go for the Storm Raider Surge, which means that when you do a burst of damage, you get a bonus burst of movement speed. We saw this on the old Ryze. It seems that mid lanes are still continuing with it, because it just gives you a bit of mobility on this low mobility champ.
When we take a look at Fox in a minute or two, can you break down the spell flux and the runes and how their system works? KaSing, gonna go toe-to-toe here with Steve. Gilius is having flashbacks to his Rengar game from yesterday where he got killed. Exhaust comes out from KaSing. The Brambleback still being taken down and secured by Gilius. He used his smite very, very early. KaSing's going to steal away one of those little minions. That's going to be just a minor frustration, but Gilius does not give up his life. And I like talking about the runes. You can see it charging under Fox's passive there.
Runes. So when you said runes, I instantly thought, right, what are his rune pages? I'm trying to figure out
the
what is
rework.
Yeah, of course. See, there's lots of new stuff, QuickShot. You got to give me time. But yes, his runes. He now has
we just saw the little bounce there.
Yes. So he now has the 2 proc passive. Nah, 3 proc stuff. None of that. But basically, every time he uses an ability, he charges a stack up of his rune. And once he has a fully charged up rune, he gets a bonus effect when he uses the follow-up. So if he uses his Q on a fully charged rune, he gets a shield. When he uses it with the W, the root is doubled. and when he uses his E, it actually splits off 2 shots of his E, which then you can keep bouncing and bouncing, and that's his big wave clear ability. So keep an eye on that rune, because it will be a big determining factor. And typically, if you want to set up a gank onto a target, you want to try and use that empowered W. Now, we talked about the maxing earlier on. Typically, what you will see them do is prioritize still the maxing of Q into the W, because those are your main damaging and CC abilities. And also, you can now get 6 points in your Q as well. So typically you want to try and prioritize that, and given the range on your ultimate is minuscule, I'm sure you will have seen some of the Twitter banter from the European mid laners on it. Typically you just want to wait until level 10 so that you can just go straight into the level 11 upgrade. Yeah. It's more about getting your damage dealing abilities as quickly as you can, but build path is still very much the same. You want as much mana as possible because he scales so well for it.
Yeah, of course, with that passive, giving him AP and mana. So the lane swap is underway. Both towers have already fallen. ADC and support's going to start challenging the respective top laners. Neither Steve nor Cabo making any very big mistakes at this stage, and you can see just how effective Fox is at shoving this wave in. Nukeduck's done a good job of farming in a tower, just looking to avoid any residual splash damage here from Fox under siege. Looking at CS numbers, no big differences between either team. Oh, and important to note, Infernal Drake is the first one on the minimap. So we'll see who's going to prioritize either the Drake or the Rift Herald once they're both up and available.
So we do see the teleport coming out from Steve to help in the lane swap. Typically you have seen this more and more these days due to the increased the channel duration on the teleport, which enables setting up for this tower that much easier. And
also just the evolution of lane swaps over the course of the summer split. Fairly risk averse for the first 6 or 7 minutes.
Yep.
It's only once you get to the secondary tower phase that teams have become a bit more proactive in terms of changing up the script, if I can revive a dead meme, and then looking to roam instead of ganks in the mid lane. But neither of these teams have made drastic changes to their early game, and they've just traded objectives, traded towers, but it's Vitality that get their hands on Infernal first of all.
Yep. So Infernal are going to be picked up for Vitality. It looks like that Gilius is rotating down, looking to potentially contest. Bear in mind, he is level 5. Okay,
that means his smite is more powerful. I got you, Vedius. Dragon should be dropped down, 800. Burst of damage available from Vitality. They're going to combo down. Gilius takes a couple of love taps, applies a red buff, but there's no support from anybody else. And this is a good start to the early game here for Vitality. No real CS damage, no real experience damage, and they've got the Dragon very early on.
Yep, this is a good way to start for Vitality with their scaling composition. Now, seeing as we do have the camera on Ryze, he chunks out a lot of Nukeduck's health. I need to clarify, because I did make an error, QuickShot. So I need to apologize for that, as we do see a teleport coming out from Cabo. His runes, in fact, work on his Q, and that once you, if you have 2 runes and you discharge them with the Q, that then gives you a shield. The bonus effects come from the E. So do need to apologize about that. There was just a slight misunderstanding on my part.
Yep, thank you for the clarification. The voice is in your head helping you out in that one there.
Also, quickly rechecking his abilities as the ultimate comes down from Nukeduck.
Well, let's take a look. Nukeduck goes out with the Hemo Plague, looking to chase forward, ghosting out. Transfusion's going to cut bump in a second, and Nukeduck wins the 1v1.
He gets himself the solo kill, the Crimson Rush being enough damage. Fox just didn't have the mana to actually secure the kill down onto Nukeduck. And honestly, that was just a big misplay from Fox. You've got to remember that you don't have an ultimate, Fox. And so you're not going to be able to match the same sort of damage that this early game Vladimir can output.
Yeah, none at all. Fox just overestimating. Cleanse and Flash used as well. KaSing's going to go toe-to-toe here with Gilius. No support for KaSing. Gilius is looking to chase down. Collateral damage not available. Whoa, end of the line. Almost took KaSing out, forcing his Flash to golf claps in the audience. As Shalke down a kill, managed to steal away the red buff. It will be equalized here by Shook and Cabo.
Yep. We do see Sprattel hanging around, trying to mitigate some of that pressure. But if we just keep our eyes on the minimap, we also see Gilius rotating up through the river, looking for a potential collapse, but they're not going to be able to set anything up.
Yeah, we haven't actually spoken about Steve or Cabo at all. Steve, level 5, 29 CS. Got a Ruby Crystal, a Longsword. Cabo, almost access to Stand United. So he has a replay. Fox, no mana. And Nukeduck
still
just starts the fight.
I don't understand why Fox stuck around. Like, the moment the ultimate comes down from Nukeduck, you back off, because there's no way you're going to win that 1 versus 1. And even with Gilius coming in from the flank, it's just, that was just a really poor decision in all honesty. Fox not properly understanding his limits.
Well, KaSing's going to get caught out. Remember his flash earlier? Easy kill. MrRallez, Sprattel, and Gilius just waiting in a bush. Shook actually picks up that blue buff. Obviously, I guess Nukeduck doesn't necessarily need it on Vladimir. Gets rooted by the rune prison, and Fox charging up those runes and dishing out the damage, continually shoving Vladimir in. Nukeduck just does not have the wave clear to deal with this Ryze right now.
Nope, he does not. And a little bit surprising given as to how Vladimir typically is pretty good at shoving in the waves early on, but he's not able to match up with these empowered abilities that you get when you spread that flux around. And Nukeduck just doing what he can to trade back and forth. So we're going to see now KaSing getting caught out. He did not expect the 3-man collapse from Shalke.
I mean, who does?
Sitting in the bush.
Who does at 8.5 minutes?
That's perfectly fair.
I imagine there was a little bit of a ragey on comms at that time. I know I'd be yelling.
Just very unfortunate. Like that's the fabled European death bush.
It is. It is. Actually, we haven't seen a huge amount of it this split, though, to be fair.
We saw it yesterday trying to be set up by H2K, and they were able to pull it off a couple cheeky times. Yeah. But other than that, no, I agree with you.
It's not exactly game-changing, though. Taking a look. Right, we're approaching 10 minutes in, and Steve has had a lot of time alone in this lane, pushed a gigantic minion wave into Cabo's waiting hands. So Cabo will balance out this 20 deficit that he finds himself in. Police got the cull, 40 CS away from proccing that one, so also going to have a nice spike in the not-too-distant future. And Cloud Drake will be the next one that's up. We celebrated Cloud Drake's birthday last week. Fox tagged by the ECA, but no additional follow-up from Vitality, so he literally just gets stunned and walks back into lane.
What I like about that play, though, is the fact that, KaSing taking a bit of damage.
Oh, KaSing's going to get deaded. Gets caught out. Collateral damage for the assist, and kill is secured by Steve. That could be a problem. KaSing comes down onto Police. Nukeduck was charging up. And now Shalke, they turn their attention to the tower. Remember that wave clear? Not the greatest from Vitality. Hemo play just a push away. Shalke, that will pop the tower. Couple hits away from death. Raul sticks around. Not going to take it on this wave, but there's another conga line making its way forward. And unless Vitality commit completely, nope, easily secured. Shalke 3-2. Another strong tower early game for Shalke.
Well, picking up that kill onto KaSing definitely made things much easier for Shalke. But then, as you rightly said, Nukeduck not the best at clearing those waves. And then when you have all 5 members of Shalke also there, it makes for an easy setup. So, good initial route by Fox to punish KaSing, who is trying to proc his relic shield to give a bit of extra gold. Police forced to use a very early heal to get away from MrRallez as well. So Vitality honestly just getting caught on the back end of Shalke just trying to push the waves back out. So just a big overstep from Vitality.
Yeah, KaSing has been punished twice now in the time frame that his flash was down. Getting caught out in the jungle, using that ability early, and Shalke have just painted a giant target on his back. KaSing's going to be helping out Police now in this bottom lane, and in terms of the state of the game, that giant minion wave that Cabo had caught earlier has allowed him to even up the CS. He should actually get an advantage. Ghost here from Nukeduck. Cabo should be able to take an advantage over Steve, because Steve, of course, roamed middle, got himself a kill for the trouble, and Fox doing the best he can to catch up. Been spending so much time trying to fight Nukeduck. He's actually behind a sizable amount of CS.
So look at the itemization choices that we actually have coming out from Shook in this game. Game 1, remember we were talking about how he actually went for the very early Cinderhulk, and this game he's going more for the Trini Force Rush, and this is because of the shift in the top lane. Game 1 he had the Trundle from Cabo, who is acting as the 3rd damage dealer. This game, he knows he has a tank, so he's going to be the next main damage dealer, which is why he wants to get this Trinity Force. But going for an early Phage means that he still has a bit of tankiness that enables him to get involved in these fights early on.
Going to be tough, though. I mean, Gilius is up 20 CS, his opposite number. Again, facilitates different things in the team fights. Hey, call to action.
There we go.
Shalke jumping up. Remember, Vitality won the first vote, and they won the game.
I've made the claim, QuickShot. I have said that we are going to a game 3.
Yeah. Disregard the color. Shalke are on the red side this time around. So we'll need to see whether or not whether or not they force that tiebreaker. As a reminder, if there is a tiebreaker game, there are 3 different possibilities. We will play those at the end of the day on this stream in this studio. And obviously, if Vitality lose this game, it'll be Vitality versus Schalke as one of those. I believe eliminate some of the other options. Nukeduck going to be trading here. Transfuses Sprattel. Sprattel comes off worse for wear. Still only level 5.
Level 10 Nukeduck.
Yes. Little bit of a difference there.
But now you can see the 1-3-1 being set up by Vitality. Right now, Schalke, because they have a bit of a gold lead, they have a little bit more control over the map as KaSing gets rooted up. That's a lot of damage.
It really is. Fox discharges 2 of those runes to get the shield and the movement speed. Stand United's going to deliver. Cabochard into the waiting hands. Gilius gets taunted up. Fox has been able to make it away. Gilius puts down the collateral and Steve issues a challenge. It's Cabo. That's the target. But a great onslaught of shadows. Shook turns around and Steve goes down. Take a look at Nukeduck coming in from the river. Sprattel and MrRallez running for their lives. Nukeduck has got both of his summoners available in a few seconds' time, but the target's the tower.
Oh, it looks like Vitality, 5 members strong, trying to set up a siege onto this tier 1 in the mid. Fox, though, he does root up Nukeduck. It's not going to be enough damage to really facilitate anything. So Vitality, they find themselves a turnaround fight using this Shen Hecarim combo to act as the engage. They get good lockdown onto Fox. A great cleanse allows Fox to immediately disengage, and this is where Schalke overcommit just a tad too much. They think they can force the fight, 3-man fear into the instant turnaround, flash from Sprattel isn't enough, and then the exhaust onto Fox as well to just guarantee that there's no turnaround damage, results in Vitality picking themselves up a kill, but they don't get any objective off the back of it.
No, still down 1,000 gold. A very, very good use of that onslaught of shadows from Shook, allowing Vitality to turn it around. Next Dragon is Infernal. He'll be coming up shortly. Fox almost in some trouble. The pillar came up. They're not the biggest of worries just yet. And
speaking of worries, I'm keeping my eye on Steve right now because he will be the biggest worry for Vitality as the game goes on. Ryze is still a big late game powerhouse. You can already see how much damage he's able to do with just the Rod of Ages. The tier is stacking up. On top of that, Fiora is well on her way to completing the 2 items that really turn her into the grand duelist that she is so famous for. The Ramnus Hydra, as well as the Black Cleaver, really make her just this unstoppable force in the top half of the map.
Yeah, well played. Good usage of her title there as well, Grand Duelist. But we've not actually seen Steve and Cabo do anything except banjo minions towards one another.
Yeah, because it's still very early on, and so because it's a Shen, you can't kill Shen, but then Shen won't kill you. So this is one of the great things about a Fiora into the Shen, and things why people will pick Gangplank into the Shen as well, because it basically gives you a free lane to farm. And as long as no one's going to stop you getting to that late game point, then that is why you see these carry top laners in the top half of the map. And it's why they have so much success. And this is where Vitality really need to try and force things. But when they have an Ashe and they have a Vladimir that's also trying to scale up, you know, you're basically playing around, okay, who can play better? Come these late game fights, can they somehow find a way to shut down the Fiora? They have the exhaust, and as long as they hold on to it and make sure that it always goes down onto Steve, you then have a Ryze you have to get through.
Yes, that is definitely the case. That single exhaust going to be so pivotal. Especially when you expect Fox, who is level 10 now. He should have an ability point in Realm Warp. Yes, he does. Getting closer and closer to level 11. So going to be delivering the rest of Schalke, hopefully into the face of Vitality. That's what the fans want. That's what 53% of the vote are looking for. And remember, you predicted it. The Twitter vote determines the outcome.
Yep. So I have put my neck on the line.
You're a braver man than I.
Or foolish. Both sometimes correlate with each other. Anyway, what I did want to highlight was this shift in Shook's build once again. He has picked up the Phage, instantly goes back to the Cinderhulk. So basically saying tank, he wants a bit of damage, but he's prioritizing the tank. So he's relying on Nukeduck and Police to be the main damage dealers once more. And as well as that, we see some more items starting to be completed. So the Spirit's Visage done for Nukeduck. He's gone for the Giant's Belt, working towards that Ryze as well, which is going to enable him to stick to these slippery targets, like the Lucian, like the Karma, as well as the the Ryze, and now Sprattel taking a lot of damage.
Yep, Stand United used as well. Sprattel could get caught out. Cabo going to arrive. No, it was interrupted. Cabo's in trouble top. We'll get a glimpse of that in a moment. Shook and Nukeduck looking to chase down Sprattel. Onslaught of Shadows is available. Shook's holding on to it though. They're going to trade support for top laner, but that also includes a teleport and a Stand United. KaSing's going to be looking to chase down Gilius. Subjugate was thrown out, and the rest of Vitality, they're going to peel back for Dragon. So, Summoners, kill for kill, but Vitality get their second Infernal Drake, unless it's stolen.
Well, it looks like Fox is going to try and come interrupted. The teleport comes in from Steve.
Oh, Steve manages to arrive. Luckily able to escape thanks to that lunge. Dragon picked up by Shalke. This is a gigantic momentum swing. Onslaught of Shadows is still available. Shook could look to engage, but there's not enough follow-up just yet. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow was used earlier. Police is on the front line, flashes away from the overload. Fox was looking for a Rune Prison, I believe, but could not find it.
And it looks like the Vitality are going to end up losing the Drake, losing Cabochard, and overall Shalke will come out ahead. So now we're going to see the utilization of this Ryze ultimate. Comes in to quickly join the fray. Cabochard actually using that ultimate to try and get out. Even throws out the TP, and it just isn't enough. The Fox W is enough to interrupt the channel.
Level 11 Realm Warp. He got to it. He had the distance.
Yes, he did.
And allowed them to get the kill and the follow-up Dragon as well. Shalke, they are not going down without a fight. They are not going quietly into Sunday night. They need to win 2 more games for this to be their Independence Day.
So Shalke right now living up to the prophecy of Twitter. But there's still a long way to go. Gold is still very even, QuickShot. Both the teams in a very stable spot right now. The Vladimir is 2-0. The Fiora has 1 kill, and the Ryze has 1 kill. He's working towards the Archangel Staff. And Steve, he's already completed his Black Cleaver. So these big spikes are starting to be finished for Shalke.
The thing is, how did Vitality stop Fiora? Getting closer and closer to that Ravenous being completed. Team fights need to go so long for Ashe and Vlad and Hecarim to kill Fiora, but Fiora, I think, will kill them quicker.
I think what you have to remember is that Fiora's not actually the best team fighter. The best way to utilize her is to keep her in a side lane where she draws pressure. The fact that she is so difficult to kill means that you can't just leave Cabo in a 1v1 against her. Nukeduck might be able to once he completes the Ryze, because there's going to be very little magic resist on Steve. But other than that, if you're drawing attention away, then Steve is doing his job.
Does Steve's damage and sustain outclass Nukeduck's sustain and damage? That is the question that we'll hopefully find out an answer to. We've gone over 20 minutes now. The gold lead is still 1,000 in favor of Schalke. MrRallez is going to get taken down. An onslaught comes out from Shook, throwing Gilius over to the side lane. Gilius uses the collateral damage flash combo to try escape. Quick draws over the wall. Follow-up flash from Cabochard. Twilight Assault won't get the kill though. And now Nukeduck's on the front line. Police is already down, and look at Steve. Got a lot of HP, but not a lot of mana. 1 for 2. Fox got mana for days, looking to chase down Vitality. Running forward. Very good pillar of rubbish or ice, whatever you prefer, will stop Schalke's re-engage, and it's a 1 for 2.
It looks like Shalke are just barely able to turn that fight around thanks to the introduction of Steve on the back half of that fight. Police was not in an ideal position. He gets collapsed on by both Fox and Steve. And because of the amount of damage that Vitality take, they are forced to back away. So while they do get the kill advantage, it is not enough. And now they're looking for a flank onto Nukeduck.
All right, Realm Warp is only brought Fox, and Steve fails.
Face plant.
Face plant.
Steve.
I can actually see Steve. He's about 10 meters away, and there was a legitimate face palm.
So look at the arrow, good arrow onto MrRallez. The pillar is enough to interrupt his dash to then set up into the ultimate. Really good pick, but just keep your eyes on Police sitting behind. He wants to try and chase up to his team, but he ends up getting left to the wayside as Steve is able to pick up that solo kill. And again, with one of the big major damage dealers gone in your AD carry, it becomes very difficult for Vitality to continue the chase. Also, Cabo missing that taunt, not ideal. You really want to be landing that onto Fox. That might have been enough to swing an extra kill in Vitality's favor.
You can feel how much more tense this game is in contrast to the first. The first team fight game was defined by back-to-back-to-back team fights. And this time around, it's individual picks.
Yep.
And a more sort of passive, tempered approach to the game. because there's so much on the line. Vitality can secure that spot, as I've said countless times already. And it's just adding to the complexity. I notice a Cloud Drake on the side of Shalke.
Yep, they picked that one up.
While we're in the replay?
Earlier on,
that's right, thank you. I forgot that. First of the game, actually, yes. And then we've had back-to-back Infernals. This will be the third one now, actually. And we'll see who's going to pick it up. 1:20, no real vision set up by either team, but I'd expect someone to contest.
Well, if anyone is going to contest, I think both teams really want to contest. I mean, Infernal Dragon has the most value, especially two of them, as 16% adds a lot of value. But have a look at Nukeduck down in the bottom half. He's now going for the 1v1 against Steve.
Oh, it's not a 1v1 anymore. Cabochard's come into the stand united. Steve will be taken down in just a moment or two. 2v1. I appreciate the enunciation there, Vedius. He's a man who's had problems with enunciation in the past. Shook is going to run down Gilius with the red buff. Onslaught of Shadows is available to him. The Ashe arrow goes wide. A little bit of an opportunistic shot.
So, I think Nukeduck can say hashtag outplayed right there in the bottom lane. Now we have the ult for Fox.
Where is it? Behind Vitality. Police is in trouble. MrRallez is going forward. Caught between a rock and a hard place. Police is going to flash over the wall and is taking Shalke on a wild goose chase. Maybe can make it out. Takes a tower shot for his troubles. Tower picked up in the bottom lane.
He's going to get away!
He's going to get away! But KaSing will not. KaSing gets killed. The tower still stands. But the Pillar of Ice saved Police.
And now look at Police. Ooh, looks like that he may get collapsed on.
Still not done yet.
But the Baron
is going to be able to slow down Shalke. Baron's being started. There is so much damage on the side of Shalke. No wards to teleport to either. Onslaught of Shadows is available. It's used into the pit. Shalke pick it up though. They've smited it down. Teleport channel from Cabochard. And Shalke looking for more. Nukeduck's going to Sanguine Pool away. Shook tried. He tried, but it did not work as Shalke take charge.
So many interesting things happening in such a short space of time. Vitality, they get collapsed on in the mid lane. Police, he gets caught out of position, but they aren't able to kill him. KaSing has to sacrifice his life for the sake of his AD carry, but Vitality 4th place in the bottom half of the map. While all of the members of Vitality are down there, Shalke just says, hey, why don't we just rush down the Baron? We're at 25 minutes in. Ryze has 2 items. Fiora has 2 items. MrRallez has 2 items. We have the damage to quickly take this one down, so let's just pick it up. They get it. They get the kill onto Shook, transition over to the Dragon, and suddenly Shalke have taken full control of this game.
Kills, Baron, another Infernal Drake, and everybody is alive. If nobody could deal with Steve in a side lane already, it's going to be near impossible this time round.
So much damage down to Shook. Very unfortunate that he wasn't able to get the steal, but good smite from Gilius to secure that one for his team. And things are getting pretty tense right now, QuickShot, because if they weren't tense already, Shalke are now looking to knock onto the doors of Vitality. We've been talking so much about this Fiora, and what better way to put her interaction than with a Baron?
Look at Shook waiting just in front of that Raptor camp. Onslaught of Shadows is available right now. It was a few seconds away. And you know, the back line of Shalke, actually no, the entire line of Shalke is actually very squishy. It's only really Gilius, once he uses the quick draw and gets that true grit, that becomes quasi-tanky, but even that is a stretch. The reason I feel that is important, a mistake from Shalke will be unforgiving. There's a lot of CC and damage. Shook needs to pull the trigger. Onslaught of Shadows goes in, manages to knock Sprattel into the team, but Shook is forced away. Here comes Nukeduck looking to chase in. Fox is on the side lane. Fox has already killed Shook, and Vitality are running. Look at that rune, realm warping in. Fox isn't done. He's got another. Shalke have killed 3 members of Vitality. They peel back for the tower.
That was so much damage from Fox. He gets the shutdown onto Police. And that was just everything that Shalke needed to finally break into the base of Vitality. 27 minutes in, and Shalke are going to get themselves an inhibitor.
Yeah, beyond a shadow of a doubt, 5 members of Shalke still standing. They've got minions behind them. They've got Baron to play with as well. They're looking to take the win. They're looking to force the tiebreaker. They're onto the Nexus turrets. Vitality have got no way to defend. Nexus turret number 1 is down. The taunt comes out from Cabo. He slowed down Shalke, but not enough. Here comes Shook. The Nexus is being focused, and Shalke have done it! Shalke have got 1 more life! The tiebreaker at the end of the day.
Schalke keep their hopes alive. 1 Baron, 1 play, 1 victory under their belt.
The prophecies, the prophecies. A best-of-1 tiebreaker will determine who takes 7th place in the European LCS. Nukeduck on your screen right now. He said he's sending Schalke down to 8th. Schalke, formerly Elements, have placed 7th, 3 consecutive splits in a row. And Vedius, the Twitter prophecy, has come true as well. But they cannot all be right. They cannot all be right.
I'm never doing that again.
Hey, look, you put your cards on the table, they came up, you hit 21, you're good. Like, there's no worries now.
Yeah, but Schalke, they came back fighting, and that was just, I mean, it was crazy how it all happened. Just, I'm so impressed with this Ryze, man. It was so good. He did so much damage. Like when I just saw the 906 underneath Police's health bar, and then all of a sudden 2/3 of his health just disappeared.
Yep.
It was absolutely insane.
Gigantic smiles on the faces of Schalke. It was a convincing win. The problem is, it was a convincing win after a loss. And that just means it all comes down to one game. It all comes down to one final matchup, a quasi BO3 on the day.
The difference is, I feel, that if we look back at game 1, Vitality, for the most part, I feel, had more control over the game. They were the ones that were typically coming out ahead of the fight. They were the ones that got the early Baron, and they were the ones that were just dictating the pace. And then it was often Schalke responding and then punishing Vitality's mistakes and keeping the game going on for a longer period of time.
That makes sense.
This time, Schalke and Vitality were very much even during the early game. It was very back and forth. Schalke got small leads here and there, and then they got the Baron, instant win. They didn't mess around. There was no back and forth.
Yes.
They didn't give Vitality any other opportunities. Schalke just went, we have Baron, let's go mid, we make a play, we end the game.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, they were just so much more decisive, and I think that's the big difference between game 1 and 2.
The problem is, you wouldn't know it was the same team. If you took the nameplates off the champions and you showed the 2 games, you're like, are these the same teams? You'd probably say no. It's just such vast day and night performances, and it all comes down to one more match. Now, you know, we've hit the 7th battle a whole lot. What we haven't hit just yet, next week is a promotion tournament. Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And 3 of the 5 teams that enter rejoin the LCS.
Yep.
We know for a fact that either Schalke or Vitality will be the last team to join Rocket, Origin, Misfits, and Millennium.
And it's...
hold that thought. We will come back in a minute. Sifa's actually sitting down with